Hey everyone, the Shredder here, and this is my entry into round 2 of the Ponage Olympics. Now, I'm sorry for all of you who still think that I'm the uncrowned champion of round 1 for my utter annihilation of Brett Keane, but unfortunately, it's my fault the video didn't win. I'm sorry to say it, but the check that I sent to Coughlin666 didn't clear by Friday, so my video was disqualified. But everything's been cleared up this time, and maybe yours truly can now scoop the gold medal. Cue the theme music! The Shredder is here to ruin your day and pwn your ignorant ass. Oh yeah, I know you guys are digging the theme music. Now, before you go any further into this video, please do me a favour. Go down there, no, not to my dick, but please just go down there into the link and look up into the tab, open it up in a new window, and check out this guy's video. Now, the guy is named X Omniverse. His video is called Voting is Pointless, and the description says, why I don't vote, and neither should you. Now, I love this idea of random nobodies telling people what they should and should not do here on YouTube. This is kind of like the whole fucking Christian things, or even the straight edge fucking guys saying, I don't drink beer, so neither should you. Or the abstinence community, I don't have sex, so neither should you. It just sounds fucking pathetic. It's fucking bullshit, and you just come out with some of the most dumb fucking arguments ever. The most repeatedly overused piles of bullshit of why voting is pointless. And that's rather pertinent to me because last night we had the first ever parliamentary leaders, party leaders debate on TV. I missed it. I was at work doing a bit of overtime, but I'm going to catch the next couple of ones if I can. And I have got my polling card through. The Shredder is voting in this election, as he has done since he turned 18. So what I'm now going to do, OmniVoice, is I'm going to go through your video, and every time you say something stupid, I'm going to take this roll of tape and I'm going to stick part of it to my face. You may be asking, why are you doing this? Well, my question to you is, why are you not doing it? That's the kind of fucking logic we're dealing with people like OmniVoice or the fucking straight edgers of the abstinence movement. So fuck that shit. Now, we'll see at the end what kind of face-to-tape ratio I still have. But we'll start off now where OmniVoice says it's the US presidential election.
Topic of the video is voting, and as I'm sure most of my viewers are aware, today is election day in the United States, in which you can show up at the polls and either vote for two practically identical candidates.
15 seconds in and already you fucking fail. God. Look, you had two candidates, one was black, one was white. One proposed universal health care, one was against universal health care. One wanted to talk to Iran, one wanted to invade Iran. One wanted to end the policies of George W. Bush, one wanted to continue the policies of George W. Bush. One had one idea how to bail out the economy, one had another idea how to bail out the fucking economy. You really have two identical candidates there, don't you? God, you are a fucking retard. And that's coming from someone who's just put tape on his own fucking face.
I want to explain in this video some of the reasons that I don't vote, and why I don't think that other people should vote. Especially not in a country in the state that this one is in. The first problem is that voting is essentially, and when I say voting here, I mean voting in a presidential election. You're voting to determine which person is going to enforce their particular values and preferences through violence over everyone else.
No, I'm sorry, but am I the only person who caught that there? Am I the only fucking person who caught that little bit of facepalm material just right fucking there?
You're voting to determine which person is going to enforce their particular values and preferences through violence over everyone else.
I think that one deserves a second piece.
In the case with McCain or Obama, there's a variety of ways in which both of them would use violence to violate the rights of other human beings were they elected.
Oh yes, that's right, the evil President Barack Obama, who through a organized campaign of military abuse against his own people in the United States somehow managed to pass through healthcare reform. We should have seen it coming!
By voting for those candidates, you are in effect sanctioning their actions.
Oh yes, we forgot. A president has carte blanche to do absolutely anything. He doesn't have to get things passed through the Senate. The same way here in the United Kingdom, we have to get things passed through Parliament.
And this is why I don't think the concept of voting for the lesser of two evils is a valid concept. At least it's not a moral thing to do. Because if you vote for an evil, you're voting for an evil. You still are committing an act of evil, even if you're committing one act of evil that's not as bad as the next act of evil. It doesn't change the nature of the action itself.
Are you by any chance a disgruntled Hillary supporter?
Another argument, of course, is I'm calling it the calculation argument, which is that if one looks at the data, the likelihood of your vote actually affecting the outcome of the election is so small, such a fraction of a percent small, that if the purpose of your actions is to benefit your own life, then there are other ways to invest that hour or 2 hours or however long you're waiting to vote that would have a more positive effect on your life than voting.
Where do I start? Okay. First and foremost, the idea that your votes don't really mean a bit of difference is bullshit. If everyone in the 2000 presidential election in Florida that was thrown off the voters' roll had their votes counted, Al Gore would have been the US president and not George W. Bush. Now, to bring this back to the UK, if everybody who was registered to vote but didn't turned up to vote at the European elections, the BNP might not actually have two of the representatives sitting in that office. If every person in the Kirkcaldy constituency who did not vote in the last election came out to vote for the second highest candidate, who was the SNP representative, then Gordon Brown would not actually be in office and would not therefore be Prime Minister. So this notion that individual votes don't count is fucking bullshit. And this notion that you have that voting is a pointless waste of your time, you can spend that hour to better your life in other ways, well, please explain to me how in that hour you're going to be able to reshape the country in the way that you see fit, the way that you want it to be. Like, that point of that hour is that you're picking a party or a leader who you think is going to get more people back into work, somebody who's going to keep your economy stable or fix it and not drive you into pointless wars where many of your people are losing lives and your economy winds up in the fucking toilet. And you're telling me you can think of a better way to use that hour of your life? If you're so unhappy with voting and so unhappy with a freedom of choice, then I've got a suggestion, dude. Go live in Saudi Arabia, or one of these countries where voting is so heavily fucking restricted or so fucking crooked. Zimbabwe, for example. There, you can piss and moan about the fact you don't have this right to something that you choose not to use and encourage other people not to use.
And frankly, it creeps me out because we're so indoctrinated into this idea of voting that if you say you don't vote, people will freak out on you.
So now we have this jackass telling people that there is no point in voting, and he thinks it's disgusting the way that people are indoctrinated into voting. He seems to forget that voting is an integral part of life. You are picking who is going to help benefit you and the country, as mentioned before. Now, he says it's disgusting that you only have two choices. Well, no, as you said earlier, you have a third-party candidate, which a lot of people use to exercise their right to put a none of the above option. I.e., you don't want to vote for the Republican or the Democrat, that's why you vote for the third-party candidate. Now, in this country, you have three main parties, and you have other choices for a protest. Vote for none of the above. Vote for an independent candidate. Vote for the fucking Lawyers for Justice candidate. Vote for the Make Cannabis Legal Party. Vote for the Monster Raving Loony Party. That's actually who I think I'm probably going to vote for. Anyway, I'm now going to end this video before I suffocate. In the meantime, this has been the Shredder. Peace out. Go vote, motherfucker.
They come up with some psychological explanation of why you don't vote instead of countering your arguments against voting itself.
I just did.